So let's start our session. So the first question, tell me the answer beta. In relation to drug absorption, what does the term extent of absorption signify? Anyone? What answers you have marked? Yeah, that's great, Dasji. So the answer for this question was area under the curve. So let me explain you again. When you give any drug to your patient, can we say the drug comes into your plasma? And you will find some concentration of the drug, and the drug comes slowly and slowly in plasma. So we always make a graph known as concentration time graph. So let's say this is the amount of drug you found in plasma with time. Agreed? Now in this graph we determine three things. The first is C. This is the maximum concentration you can have, C max, and it is coming in which amount of time? T max. And this whole area of this triangle, we call it as AUC. We call it as AUC. Fine. Do you agree with this part? So in this graph, we identify three things: C max, AUC and T max. Remember, T max, it tells you about the rate of absorption. Rate का मतलब कितनी स्पीड से ड्रग ब्लड में आता है. This AUC tells you about, area under curve tells you about the total amount of drug or the total extent of the drug which is coming into your blood with time. Very logical explanation. So area under the curve, it tells you about the total extent of absorption. Fine. And the third thing which we determine is C max. C max, it tells you about the maximum plasma concentration which is achieved in a patient. So these three things you must remember. Now let's come to the next question. I hope you all have marked it correctly. अगर गलती हुई है, यही time है सीखने का. Okay? So next question is, which was asked this year in INI-CET exam. Match the following drugs with their corresponding schedules under Drugs and Cosmetic Act. Remember, schedule का मतलब क्या होता है? Schedule का मतलब होता है laws, कानून. Remember, certain drugs are dangerous. So their sale, purchase, manufacturing is controlled or regulated by government. That is why government makes certain laws, and these laws are known as schedules. And we have various types of schedule. So first is Schedule H. So before coming to the explanation, can you tell me beta what is the correct answer of this question? आप बच्चों ने कौन सा मार्क किया है सही आंसर? A, B, C, D बताइए. कौन सा आंसर मार्क किया? Let's see, सही हुआ है कि गलत हुआ है? अनुकृति जी ने कहा है B. ओके. सो लेट्स सी इसका सही आंसर क्या होगा. रिमेंबर, शेड्यूल H का मतलब होता है प्रिस्क्रिप्शन ड्रग. H को क्या बोलते हैं हम? प्रिस्क्रिप्शन ड्रग्स. मतलब आप केमिस्ट के पास जाएंगे तो वो पहले आपको कहेगा सर प्रिस्क्रिप्शन दिखाओ, तभी आपको ड्रग दूंगा. Z, रिमेंबर मैंने आपको एक ट्रिक बताई थी, Z फॉर जेब्रा. हमने पढ़ा था, स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं Z फॉर जेब्रा. जेब्रा एक एनिमल है और एनिमल्स में यूज होने वाले ड्रग्स को हम क्या कौन से शेड्यूल में डालते हैं? Z. So can we say veterinary drugs are schedule Z drugs? Then we have X. X तो बेटा सबसे डेंजरस अल्फाबेट है. एग्रीड? X तो सबसे डेंजरस है. तो इन ड्रग्स का एडिक्शन हो जाता है. एडिक्शन का मतलब नार्कोटिक या फिर साइकोट्रॉपिक ड्रग्स. दे कम अंडर शेड्यूल X. कैसे याद करें? नार्कोटिक या साइकोट्रॉपिक ड्रग का एडिक्शन होता है और X जो है सबकी एडिक्टिव है. X को तो कोई नहीं भूल पाता, तो X वाले ड्रग एडिक्टिव ड्रग. तो आप बता सकते हैं इनमें से कौन सा ड्रग एडिक्टिव है? यस, वी ऑल नो मॉर्फिन जो है वो एडिक्टिव ड्रग है. एग्रीड? लास्टली वी हैव इज G. रिमेंबर, G का मतलब होता है गिवन अंडर मेडिकल सुपरविजन. G फॉर गिवन अंडर मेडिकल सुपरविजन. सिंपल भाषा में इसका मतलब है कि ये पेशेंट खुद नहीं खाएगा. पेशेंट विल नॉट टेक दिस ड्रग itself. Only a doctor or a medical professional will give the drug to the patient under medical supervision. So can we say vaccines जो होती हैं वो patient खुद नहीं ले सकता? वैक्सीन पेशेंट खुद नहीं ले सकता, दे कम अंडर शेड्यूल जी. सो नाउ what is left is insulin. Can we say insulin is a prescription drug? Because patient can take insulin at home, तो Z में नहीं, G में नहीं आएगा. इंसुलिन एडिक्टिव नहीं है, इसीलिए इंसुलिन X में नहीं आएगा. इंसुलिन हम ह्यूमंस लेते हैं तो Z में भी नहीं आएगा. सो नाउ बेटा टेल मी द आंसर. कैन वी से H का? द आंसर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन कम्स आउट टू बी ऑप्शन नंबर ए. ठीक है, आई होप आपको कहानी समझ आ गई सब बच्चों को. एग्रीड? आप दोबारा नहीं भूलेंगे इसे. दैट्स ग्रेट. लेट्स कम टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. अ पेशेंट विद अ हिस्ट्री ऑफ इश्केमिक स्ट्रोक. स्ट्रोक हो गया क्यों? क्योंकि सेरिब्रल आर्टरी में प्लेटलेट वाला थ्रोम्बस बन गया, इसीलिए हमने एक एंटी प्लेटलेट ड्रग स्टार्ट किया, क्लोपिडोग्रल. हाउएवर शी हैड अनदर अटैक्स ऑफ स्ट्रोक, मतलब क्लोपिडोग्रल का इफेक्ट नहीं आ रहा. After 6 months, which of the following could be responsible for the failure of clopidogrel in the patient? So let me explain you the answer of this question. Remember, clopidogrel एक प्रोड्रग है. What are prodrug? Prodrugs are inactive drug. तो इसे पहले एक्टिव फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट होना पड़ेगा. जब ये एक्टिव फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट होगा, इट बिकम्स एन एंटीप्लेटलेट ड्रग. And when it becomes an antiplatelet drug, it is given in the treatment of MI and stroke, which is given. Now, which enzyme in our body converts clopidogrel into active form? तो enzymes होते हैं CYP enzyme, cytochrome P enzyme, and the answer of this question is CYP2C19. कैसे याद करें C19? मैंने आपको ट्रिक बताई थी. C19 में C1 आ रहा है, क्लोपिडोग्रल में भी C1 वर्ड आ रहा है. सो रिमेंबर, सर्टेन इंडिविजुअल्स, कई ह्यूमंस में ये जो CYP2C19 है, इसका अमाउंट बहुत ही कम होता है. सम पीपल हैव वेरी लेस अमाउंट ऑफ CYP2C19. दैट इज व्हाई इन दोज इंडिविजुअल क्लोपिडोग्रल विल नॉट बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू एक्टिव फॉर्म. दैट इज व्हाई it will have reduced activity in the treatment of MI and stroke. So tell me the answer, beta. What is the answer of this question? So answer of this question is this one, CYP2C19. Now one more question, add-on question. Remember, एक ड्रग होता है which inhibits CYP enzyme. कैसे याद करें? C और L वर्ड हो गया. O से क्या है? ओमीप्राजोल. ओमीप्राजोल is a inhibitor of CYP2C19. तो मुझे बताइए बेटा, yes या no, would you like to combine omeprazole with clopidogrel? Tell me yes or no. Would you like to combine omeprazole with clopidogrel? Would you like to combine? Yes, no. Very good, Priyanka. No, we never combine omeprazole because it will inhibit the conversion of clopidogrel into active form. क्लोपिडोग्रल काम नहीं करेगा, पेशेंट को MI और स्ट्रोक पड़ जाएगा. तो यहीं पे सवाल है कि कौन सा प्रोजोल या प्रोटोन पंप इनहिबिटर हमें कंबाइन करना चाहिए. सो O के बाद बेटा कौन सा वर्ड आ रहा है? O के बाद P वर्ड आ रहा है. सो यू विल राइट पेंटोप्राजोल को हम कंबाइन कर सकते हैं. और अगर पेंटोप्राजोल नहीं दिया तो आप लिखोगे रैबीप्राजोल को भी हम कंबाइन कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज पेंटोप्राजोल एंड रैबीप्राजोल आर proton pump inhibitor PPI with least CYP inhibiting action. So which proton pump inhibitor has maximum CYP inhibiting action? Omeprazole. So that is the answer of our question. Next question, which of the following factors are involved in calculating the maintenance dose of a drug? Anyone beta, what is the correct answer you have marked? फटाफट बताओ, फटाफट, टाइम नहीं लगाना बिल्कुल भी. क्या आपने आंसर मार्क किया है? ओके, तो आई थिंक सावली जी के तो पूरे मार्क्स आने वाले हैं. द आंसर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन इज ए. सो बेटा लेट मी टेल यू ऑल द फॉर्मूलास इन फार्माकोलॉजी विच यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. इस पे हमेशा सवाल आता है. तो इसका आंसर है CL, टारगेट कंसंट्रेशन और बायो अवेलेबिलिटी. सो लेट्स सी व्हाट ऑल फॉर्मूलास वी हैव टू रिमेंबर. पहला फॉर्मूला है बेटा लोडिंग डोज का. दूसरा फॉर्मूला है मेंटेनेंस डोज का. लोडिंग डोज जब हम आईवी देते हैं, इट इज इक्वल टू वॉल्यूम ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इनटू टारगेट प्लाज्मा कंसंट्रेशन। एग्रीड? मेंटेनेंस डोज में वीडी की जगह बेटा आप लिखोगे क्लियरेंस ऑफ अ ड्रग, इट इज द क्लियरेंस इनटू टारगेट प्लाज्मा कंसंट्रेशन। ऐसा क्यों होता है अब आपको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है, कंसेप्ट मैं आपको बता चुका हूं। बट ये बात हम कैसे याद रखें? बहुत इजी है ये याद करना। रिमेंबर, वॉल्यूम ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में डी वर्ड आता है, लोडिंग डोज में भी डी वर्ड आता है, वाइल मेंटेनेंस डोज में सी वर्ड आ रहा है बेटा, डी वर्ड नहीं आ रहा, और यहां पे क्लियरेंस में भी सी वर्ड आ रहा है, डी वर्ड नहीं आ रहा। डू यू एग्री विद दिस पार्ट? नाउ रिमेंबर, लोडिंग डोज और मेंटेनेंस डोज हम आईवी रूट से दे रहे हैं। अगर हम इस डोज को किसी भी और रूट से दे, लेट्स से हम ओरल डोज, लेट्स से हम ओरल रूट से दे रहे हैं, अगर हम किसी और रूट से देंगे, वी विल डिवाइड दिस फॉर्मूला, वी विल डिवाइड दिस फॉर्मूला विद बायो अवेलेबिलिटी। यस एफएमजी बच्चों, बिल्कुल अटेंड करना है, बहुत सवाल आएंगे आपके इस सेशन से, ठीक है अजय अभय जी? बिल्कुल ठीक है। फार्मा वैसे ही वॉलेटाइल सब्जेक्ट है, याद नहीं होती ना, तो अच्छे से समझ लो, बहुत काम का सेशन है। तो जब हम इसको दूसरे रूट से देंगे तो बायो अवेलेबिलिटी। सो कैन यू टेल मी नाउ, मेंटेनेंस डोज डिपेंड्स अपॉन विच 3 फैक्टर? क्लियरेंस, टारगेट प्लाज्मा कंसंट्रेशन एंड बायो अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ अ ड्रग। यही हमारा आंसर था। नाउ व्हाट अबाउट हाफ लाइफ? हाफ लाइफ का बेटा हम सब सिंबल जानते हैं, कितना टाइम लगता है ड्रग को ब्लड में हाफ होने के लिए। इसका आंसर है 0.693 जो log 2 की वैल्यू होती है, Vd अपॉन Cl। तो हमने क्या किया, दोनों को डिवाइड कर दिया, एंड इट इज ऑल्सो इक्वल टू 0.693 अपॉन K। डू यू एग्री विद दिस पार्ट? नाउ व्हाट इज K स्टैंड्स फॉर? K स्टैंड्स फॉर Cl अपॉन Vd, और K को हम बोलते हैं एलिमिनेशन रेट कांस्टेंट। K को हम क्या बोलते हैं? एलिमिनेशन रेट कांस्टेंट। सो बेटा ये फॉर्मूला याद करके आपने जाना है, इसके बाहर नहीं आएंगे। बेटा व्हाई टू डिवाइड विद बायो अवेलेबिलिटी? द रीजन इज वेरी सिंपल। बेटा जब हम आईवी डोज देते हैं तो 100% ड्रग ब्लड में पहुंच जाता है, एग्रीड? बट जब हम किसी और रूट से देते हैं तो लेस अमाउंट ऑफ ड्रग विल रीच टू द ब्लड, क्योंकि कोई ना कोई सेल्यूलर बैरियर होता है। इसीलिए हमें ड्रग को, इस फॉर्मूला को बायो अवेलेबिलिटी से डिवाइड करना है, क्योंकि जब हम ओरल डोज देंगे तो हमें थोड़ी सी ज्यादा देनी पड़ेगी, और बायो अवेलेबिलिटी हमेशा 0 से 1 के बीच में होती है, मतलब 100% से कम होती है। इसीलिए हमें ज्यादा डोज देनी पड़ेगी, बिकॉज बायो अवेलेबिलिटी विल बी लेस देन 1, सो टोटल डोज विल बिकम मोर। That is why we divide by bioavailability. I hope Sudeep Pal you have understood the concept. Next question, forced पढ़ेंगे इंद्रजीत जी, अभी हम एंटी कैंसर भी पढ़ेंगे। Forced alkaline diuresis is done for the poisoning of. What is the answer बेटा? What is the answer of this question? The answer of this question was paracetamol. पैरासीटामोल का दूसरा नाम होता है एसिटामिनोफेन। तो फोर्स्ड एल्कलाइन डायूरेसिस हम करते हैं पैरासीटामोल या एसिटामिनोफेन पॉइजनिंग में। बट रिमेंबर, पैरासीटामोल में हम फोर्स्ड एल्कलाइन डायूरेसिस क्यों करते हैं? ताकि ये पैरासीटामोल गेट्स एक्सक्रीटेड आउट इनटू द यूरिन। ऐसा क्यों होगा अभी मैं आपको बताता हूं। बट हम ये भी जानते हैं दैट पैरासीटामोल कॉजेस लिवर डैमेज, इट कॉजेस लिवर डैमेज, हेपेटोटॉक्सिसिटी। तो पैरासीटामोल से लिवर डैमेज क्यों होता है बेटा? क्योंकि जब आप पैरासीटामोल देते हो, पैरासीटामोल लिवर में जाके एक टॉक्सिक फॉर्म बनाता है। उस टॉक्सिक फॉर्म का नाम होता है NAPQI। दिस NAPQI इज द टॉक्सिक फॉर्म ऑफ पैरासीटामोल विच कॉजेस लिवर डैमेज। तो अगर पैरासीटामोल से लिवर टॉक्सिसिटी हो रही है, देन द ट्रीटमेंट इज, वी ऑल नो एंटीडोट क्या होती है? N-एसिटाइलसिस्टीन। तब एंटीडोट क्या होती है? N-एसिटाइलसिस्टीन, क्योंकि N-एसिटाइलसिस्टीन लिवर में ग्लूटाथायोन का लेवल बढ़ाता है। यह भी रिसेंट एमसीक्यू था। और ग्लूटाथायोन क्या करता है? इट रिमूव्स NAPQI फ्रॉम द लिवर, NAPQI फ्रॉम लिवर, ताकि लिवर डैमेज ना हो। डू यू एग्री विद दिस पार्ट? सो रिमेंबर, एक्सक्रीट करना है तो फोर्स्ड एल्कलाइन डायूरेसिस। नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इसका कंसेप्ट क्या है। सो रिमेंबर बेटा, दो टाइप की ड्रग पॉइजनिंग होती है, या तो एसिडिक ड्रग होता है या बेसिक ड्रग होता है। रिमेंबर, अगर हम एसिडिक ड्रग के केस में यूरिन को एल्कलाइन बना दे, यूरिन को एल्कलाइन बना दे, तो ये जो ड्रग होते हैं ये वाटर सॉल्युबल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट होने शुरू हो जाते हैं। ऑपोजिट पीएच में ड्रग वाटर सॉल्युबल हो जाता है। दैट इज वाई इन द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ इन वीक एसिडिक ड्रग पॉइजनिंग वी डू फोर्स्ड एल्कलाइन डायूरेसिस। क्या करेंगे? फोर्स्ड एल्कलाइन डायूरेसिस करेंगे। तो अब मेरा आप बच्चों से एक सवाल, अगर एक ड्रग पहले से ही एल्कलाइन है या बेसिक है, तो बताइए यूरिन को आप क्या करना चाहोगे? टर्न द यूरिन एसिडिक, क्योंकि एसिडिक मीडिया में बेसिक ड्रग वाटर सॉल्युबल बन जाते हैं और वाटर सॉल्युबल ड्रग यूरिन में निकल जाता है। सो इन द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वीक बेसिक ड्रग पॉइजनिंग यू विल डू फोर्स्ड एसिडिक डायूरेसिस। आई होप ये वर्ड समझ आया सब बच्चों को। Okay, I'll speak in English. So I hope you have understood the whole concept behind it. Now, second question comes in our mind is, sir, how we will do forced alkaline diuresis? We do forced alkaline diuresis by giving sodium bicarbonate to our patient. Agreed? And we turn the pH of urine acidic. That means we will do forced acidic diuresis, very important, by giving ammonium chloride to our patient. By giving ammonium chloride to the patient. So now the question in which drug poisoning we will do this thing? So beta, can you tell me certain acidic drug? Can you tell me the example of certain acidic drug? Can we say first acidic drug is aspirin? We all know aspirin, acetyl salicylic acid, and the brother of aspirin is paracetamol. Another name of paracetamol is acetaminophen. Agreed? One more drug you have to remember, barbiturate poisoning. Barbiturate poisoning like phenobarbital, etc. We give sodium bicarbonate. Now, I'll give you a trick how to remember the name of basic drug. Remember, basic drugs, they will end with the word "ene." Basic drugs, they will end with the word "ene." Okay? Now, let me first get back to the question. You can see amphetamine ending with the word "ene," morphine ending with the word "ene," atropine, strychnine, quinine, they all are ending with the word "ene." That is why in their poisoning we will do forced acidic diuresis. In their poisoning we will do forced acidic diuresis. I hope you have understood this part. सबको समझ आया? So can you tell me certain drugs which are ending with the word "ene"? Amphetamine poisoning, morphine poisoning, to remove morphine, atropine poisoning, strychnine poisoning, quinine poisoning. So beta, just tell me, what is the antidote of amphetamine poisoning? Which student will tell me the answer? What is the antidote of amphetamine poisoning? Anyone? What is the antidote of amphetamine poisoning? Answer is written in front of you. You already know the answer. Very commonly asked question. Yes, in strychnine we also do. Yes, the antidote of amphetamine poisoning is ammonium chloride. We don't have any other drug for amphetamine poisoning. Can you tell me the only antidote for aspirin poisoning? The only antidote for aspirin poisoning will be your sodium bicarbonate. I hope you have understood the basic concept behind it. That's great. Next question. Chalo, tell me the answer of this question. It is a little bit tricky one or tough one. Which of the following is true about therapeutic index of a drug? So first let me tell you what is therapeutic index. Let's say I am giving a dose to my patient. Don't you think after a certain dose the effect of a drug will come? Let's call it as effective dose. Effective dose. And can I say if I give this dose in percentage of population, this is ED50. So what is ED50? ED50 is dose that produce effect in 50% of people. Now, if I will increase the dose of any drug further, very high dose, at a certain dose, the drug will be harmful for us. Let's call it as toxic or lethal dose. And beta, can you tell me what is TD50 or LD50? LD50 was last year's question. Can we say TD50 or LD50 will be dose that produce toxic or lethal effect in 50% of people? Do you agree? Now, what is the therapeutic index? Can we say that in our patient, we should always keep the dose between ED50 and TD50? Because in this dose level, the drug will produce beneficial effect, but toxic effect will not come. So, therapeutic index TI, its formula is LD50 upon ED50. Or we can write it as TD50 upon ED50. So, tell me, option number A, is it correct or false? It is correct or incorrect? So, this is a false statement because it is reversed. Therapeutic index is LD50 divided by ED50. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? What is written here is, here it is written ED50 in numerator. Now, dose in which efficacy and toxicity can be balanced in an individual. Sir, individual word is coming. Do you think it is correct to write a word individual? No, sir. It is population, number of people. Third, it measures therapeutic index in population versus individual. Here population word is written. Here population word is written, so you can go with the correct statement true, C. Now it is used for specific individual, false. So remember, therapeutic index in simple word, it tells us about the safety margin of a drug. It tells us about the safety margin, that how much gap is between ED50 and TD50. So therapeutic index हमें क्या बताता है? Safety margin बताता है ड्रग का. Tell me this question. This is a tough one. Let's see which student have marked the correct answer. Okay, which student have marked the correct answer? So what you have to do? You have to just match the following, that which is the correct answer. Which is the correct answer? So what is the answer of this question? Correct answer. Now, before coming to the correct answer of this question, let me show you a table from Harrison book. This question came this year, and there is a table in Harrison book which tells you about the various types of drug induced liver injury. कौन कौन से ड्रग लिवर इंजरी करते हैं? So first is carbon tetrachloride, very toxic drug. Carbon tetrachloride causes necrosis of liver and fatty infiltration. ठीक है, ये नहीं भी याद रहेगा, चलेगा. Agreed? Then we have acetaminophen, which is paracetamol. I have explained you. It causes centrilobular necrosis. This point you have to remember, it causes centrilobular necrosis. Then we have isoniazid, TB wala drug. Isoniazid, it causes hepatocellular injury which resembles viral hepatitis. Then we have estrogen or testosterone like steroid. They produce cholestatic jaundice or cholestasis without any inflammation. ठीक है, I have given you 4 statements. Now tell me which is the correct match. Which is the correct match? So first is acetaminophen. Does it cause fatty filtration with hepatic necrosis? The answer is no. Acetaminophen rather produce centrilobular necrosis, which is incorrect match. Then we have isoniazid. Isoniazid causes hepatocellular injury mimicking viral hepatitis. Then we have estrogen and androgen. They produce cholestatic without portal inflammation. And lastly, carbon tetrachloride, which causes fatty infiltration with hepatic necrosis. So these are reversed actually. The answer of this question is option number C. Okay, option number C. You have to match the following. So next question, a drug is already approved. This is a last year's question, 2024. A drug is already approved in Europe. Now, which phase of clinical trial is required by a company seeking approval of this drug in India? So the question is asking, एक drug है, already it is approved in Europe. Now you want to market this drug in India. From which phase of clinical trial you should start in India? Tell me the answer. The answer of this question is, you only have to do phase 3 trial. अगर एक ड्रग ऑलरेडी अप्रूव्ड है, लेट्स से यूरोप में, and you want to approve this drug in other country, in India, you only have to start with phase 3 trial. और अगर आपका phase 3 trial approve हो जाता है, after that you can market this drug in India. This type of trial, which is bridging the gap between two countries, they are known as bridging trial. इनको हम क्या बोलते हैं बेटा? Bridging trial बोलते हैं. ठीक है? It is known as bridging trial. So the answer of this question is option number 3. I hope we have discussed it previously also. Tell me the answer of this question. A farmer presented to emergency with diarrhea, sweating, excessive lacrimation, salivation. Can we say all the body secretions are increased? Now pulse rate is 55. The patient is having bradycardia less than 60 and his cholinesterase level is low. So can you tell me which poisoning we are talking about? And here farmer word is given. Here farmer, yes, we are talking about organophosphate or carbamate poisoning. Because organophosphate and carbamates, they increase the level of acetylcholine in the body, which increase all body secretion. So what is the antidote of or treatment of carbamate and organophosphate poisoning? The answer is atropine. Answer is atropine. So let me give you a very important topic in great detail, organophosphate and carbamate poisoning. Remember, these drugs, they increase the amount of acetylcholine in the body. And when acetylcholine level is increased, what are the clinical features? Remember, all body secretions are increased. So remember a mnemonic, dumbbells, diarrhea, more diarrhea, secretion, urination, similarly lacrimation, sweating and salivation, all body secretions are increased. A very important clinical feature is meiosis. Meiosis is pinpoint pupil. And the second thing you should remember is bradycardia. Heart rate is less. So certain examples of organophosphates are malathion. What is malathion? Malathion poisoning means organophosphate poisoning. Other molecules are parathion, TIC20, tabun, serine, soman. These are nerve gases. These are the nerve gases used in warfares. So ये नाम आपको याद रखने हैं. Carbamate poisoning, LD carb, carbaryl. Do you agree with this part? Now beta, remember what is the treatment. In the treatment of organophosphate and carbamate poisoning, the drug of choice is atropine. The drug of choice is atropine. Why? Because atropine block acetylcholine receptors. It block acetylcholine receptors. But a very, very important point is that in organophosphate poisoning, we also add a drug pralidoxime. Here we add a drug pralidoxime. Pralidoxime is not used in cases of carbamate poisoning. It is only given in treatment of organophosphate poisoning. Okay, oximes. This is the treatment. So beta, we know that organophosphate, carbamate, they increase acetylcholine level, secretions will increase. Beta, if I'll ask you a question in indirect way, that there is atropine poisoning, Can you tell me the features of atropine poisoning? Tell me what will happen to the body secretions in atropine poisoning. It will increase or reduce in atropine poisoning. So let's talk about atropine poisoning. Atropine poisoning clinical features will be opposite of dumbbells. Very good. It will produce features opposite of dumbbells. And remember, atropine is obtained from a plant known as Datura plant. Datura plant. Agreed? So Datura poisoning and atropine poisoning is same. So let's reduce all body secretion. So first, let's decrease sweating. If sweating is reduced, can we say the skin will become very much dry? And that will increase body temperature. So very important feature is hyperthermia. And if there is hyperthermia or increase in body temperature, the blood vessels on the skin will dilate. And if blood vessels on skin will dilate to promote heat loss, there will be flushing. Similarly, dry eyes, dry mouth. Instead of miosis, there will be mydriasis and cycloplegia. Cycloplegia is loss of accommodation. Person will become blind. Instead of atropine poisoning, remember, decreases memory. Because of decrease in memory, there is sudden confusional state which is known as delirium. And instead of diarrhea, there will be constipation, urinary retention and tachycardia. Okay, opposite of dumbbell. So what is the antidote for the treatment of atropine poisoning? The antidote for treatment of atropine poisoning is physostigmine. So what is physostigmine? Physostigmine is a carbamate which increases acetylcholine level. I hope you have understood this part. So what is the antidote of atropine or Datura poisoning? Physostigmine. It will increase acetylcholine level. So now tell me the answer of this question, very frequently asked question, very many times asked, more than 50 times this question has been asked, that what is the dose of epinephrine which is used for the treatment of anaphylactic shock? You all are absolutely right. So this is the dose of epinephrine to treat anaphylaxis. That is 1:1000 intramuscular 0.5 ml. Now what about the first one? This dose of epinephrine is given in the treatment of cardiac arrest. That is 1:10,000, not 1000, it is 10,000 intravenous 1 ml. And last dose is 1:5 lakh, very dilute form. Here epinephrine is given as an add-on drug to local anesthetics. With local anesthetics, we use this much dose of epinephrine to reduce their absorption into the blood. Okay, that's great. So let's talk about the treatment of all shock at one place. Shock is a very important topic. So what is the treatment or drug of choice for septic shock, neurogenic shock and cardiogenic shock with hypotension? Anyone? First three shock, what is the drug of choice? The drug of choice in these three shock is norepinephrine. Okay, norepinephrine, fine. Now, cardiogenic shock with hypotension, give norepinephrine. But if a word come, cardiogenic shock without hypotension, then the drug of choice is dobutamine. Then the drug of choice becomes dobutamine. Remember, sometimes in place of cardiogenic shock, you will find a word AHF. AHF stands for acute heart failure. Then cardiogenic shock, third, with oligouria. Oligouria is ARF, acute renal failure. Here you give dopamine. Here you give dopamine as a drug of choice. Then anaphylactic shock, we already know the answer, epinephrine. Dose we know. Cardiac arrest or CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, again we give epinephrine. Lastly, all these shocks we are giving norepinephrine, dopamine, epinephrine. If any of the following drug is found to be resistant, unable to increase blood pressure, then we call it as resistant shock. तब क्या बोलते हैं बेटा? Resistant. In resistant shock to these drugs we add a drug vasopressin. अगर इनसे बीपी नहीं इंक्रीज होता तब हम ऐड करते हैं वेसोप्रेसिन. नाउ कैन यू टेल मी द ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस अमंग देम फॉर स्ट्रेस इकोकार्डियोग्राफी? फॉर स्ट्रेस इकोकार्डियोग्राफी the drug of choice is dobutamine, because dobutamine stimulates beta 1 receptor on heart. It stimulates beta 1 receptor on heart. Very good. Next question. This is a tough one, but many times asked question. Match the following drug on which receptor they will act. So tell me the answer of first point. Beta 1 agonist we just discussed. Beta 1 agonist is dobutamine. Beta 1 agonist is dobutamine. Then we have alpha 2 agonist. Alpha 2 agonist, remember, they will end with the word nidine. They will end with the word nidine. Can you name any drug ending with the word nidine? Dexmedetomidine, clonidine, tizanidine. Don't you think all are ending with the word nidine? They will be alpha 2 agonist. Then we have beta 3 agonist. Very important. Beta 3 agonist drug is mirabegron. Remember, beta 3 receptor, it is present on urinary bladder. So by acting on beta 3 receptor, it relaxes detrusor muscle. And this mirabegron is a new drug for the treatment of overactive bladder. It is a new drug for the treatment of overactive bladder. Lastly, we are having alpha 1 agonist. Alpha 1 agonist we have is midodrine. So midodrine, remember, produce vasoconstriction that will increase blood pressure. Midodrine is the drug of choice for the treatment of postural hypotension. Midodrine कहाँ use करते हैं बेटा? Treatment of postural hypotension. So tell me the answer of this question. I hope you all have marked correct. नहीं भी करेक्ट हुआ तो अब करेक्ट कर लेना, कभी मत भूलना दोबारा से, ठीक है? I hope you are enjoying, you are able to understand each and every word I am telling you. Now let's talk about next question. This was a recent question in INI-CET and I believe it is one of the easiest answer to mark in AIIMS and PGI exam, INI-CET exam. So tell me, what is the mechanism of action of phenoldopam? Very simple, dopam word is coming, dopam. So can you tell me on which receptor it will be acting? Dopam means dopamine. F means first, ऐसे याद कर लो. F means first. So it acts on D1 receptor agonist. It stimulates dopamine receptor. And beta, where dopamine receptor is present? Dopamine receptor, it is present in kidney. And it produces vasodilation in kidney. And vasodilation in kidney will increase blood supply to the kidney. And if blood supply to the kidney will increase, it will increase GFR. And if it will increase GFR, it will increase urine production. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to you? So where do you think phenoldopam will be used? It should be used in the treatment of oligouria. Where we give phenoldopam? Oligouria, which is also known as ARF. We give phenoldopam in the treatment of ARF. So the answer of this question comes out to be A. Very simple and easy. है ना? Very simple question. Next question. Which of the following drug is most effective for quitting smoking? Smoking de-addiction. ठीक है? Let me give you an example, a trick how to remember. Instead of most, if I will write very effective drug in the treatment of quitting smoking, tell me the answer. Very वाला कौन सा drug है इनमें? Very वाला कौन सा है? Yes, very वाला varenicline है. So the most effective drug in quitting smoking is varenicline. So smoking cessation or smoking de-addiction is a very important topic. Let's see what are the drugs we have to make a person quit smoking. So we have three first line drug. We can remember a mnemonic. Nicotine, very bad. Mnemonic is nicotine, very bad. So first is nicotine. Agreed? Nicotine, how it is given? It can be given as a transdermal patch. so that small amount of nicotine always enters into the blood and the person should not have craving for smoking. It can be given as chewing gums or toffees which can be kept in mouth for very long duration of time, lozenges. It can be given as a oral or a nasal spray. These are the routes by which we give nicotine. Now what is varenicline? You can see varenicline, nic word is coming. Don't you think it is somewhat related to nicotine only? Nic word. So it is a partial agonist at nicotinic receptor. So it is a partial agonist at nicotinic receptors. So it will reduce the craving for nicotine. And bupropion, it is an antidepressant drug. And mechanism is NDRI, norepinephrine dopamine reuptake inhibitor. Dopamine ज़्यादा होगा आप खुश हो जाओगे. So these are the drug. Most effective drug we know is varenicline. Most effective drug is varenicline. Now beta, one more question I want to tell you, one additional question which was recently asked, that all these three drugs are contraindicated is CNS disease patient, like scissor patient. अगर patient में दौरे पड़ते हैं, scissors are happening, don't give any of the following drug. And these drugs are also contraindicated in heart disease patient like angina, MI patient. Okay. So these drugs are contraindicated in CNS disease and heart disease patient. Additional point you must remember. Next question. Drug of choice to reduce catecholamine synthesis in pheochromocytoma. You know that pheochromocytoma is a tumor of adrenal medulla, and catecholamines, they are epinephrine, norepinephrine and dopamine. These are catecholamine. Before coming to the correct answer, can you tell me beta that which amino acid makes dopamine, norepinephrine? The amino acid which makes catecholamine is tyrosine. Tyrosine से बनता है. And there is an enzyme known as tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme which is responsible for synthesis of catecholamine. Now let's inhibit this enzyme. तो बताओ बेटा कौन से ड्रग में टायरोसिन वर्ड आ रहा है? मैं भी टायरोसिन. Yes, the answer is metyrosine. So metyrosine decrease catecholamine production in pheochromocytoma. Do you agree with this part? Now the point is, Sudeep Pal was asking, nicotine poisoning में, nicotine addiction में अगर heart disease या seizures हो रहे हैं तो कौन सा ड्रग दें? There is a second line drug clonidine जो हम दे सकते हैं, but nobody is going to ask you that point. Okay. Now this is a very important topic. Every year question comes on pheochromocytoma. So remember, to reduce catecholamine synthesis, tell me which drug you are using in pheochromocytoma? Which drug you are using in pheochromocytoma? To reduce catecholamine production, we give a drug metyrosine. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to you? It inhibits tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme. Now, in pheochromocytoma, to control hypertension, epinephrine, norepinephrine causes hypertension, we give phenoxybenzamine. This year's question. So phenoxybenzamine, it is given for the treatment of, not to reduce catecholamine production, it is rather given to control the symptoms of hypertension in pheochromocytoma. Now which drug is given for diagnosis of pheochromocytoma? The brother, phentolamine. And if phentolamine is not given, you can also give clonidine for diagnosis of pheochromocytoma. I hope you have understood where to use which drug. There is lot of confusion. Whenever we hear a word pheochromocytoma, we hurriedly or blindly mark phenoxybenzamine as an answer. ऐसा नहीं करना. क्वेश्चन को पूरा पढ़ना है, उसके बाद ड्रग आपने चूज करना है. आई होप यू ऑल आर सेटिस्फाइड. Ritik ji, you were asking the same question. Great. Which of the following glaucoma medication is avoided in diabetic cystoid macular edema, anterior uveitis and heterochromia iridis? Beta, don't you think iridis means inflammation of iris? uveitis means inflammation in the anterior chamber of eye, and when there is retinal inflammation, there is edema in macula. Can you tell me which molecule causes inflammation? Prostaglandins, they produce inflammation. Can you tell me which drug do you think is a prostaglandin? Prostaglandins, they produce inflammation in our body. And inflammation in eye will be retinal inflammation and all these things. So the answer of our question is latanoprost. Why? Because it is ending with the word prost. Prost means it is a type of prostaglandin. So let's talk about all the drugs for glaucoma at one place. Many questions come. So first is prostaglandin. PG means prostaglandin F2 alpha. So this prostaglandin F2 alpha, remember, they are now considered to be the drug of choice for any type of glaucoma. Whether it is open angle glaucoma or angle closure glaucoma, they are the drug of choice. Remember two drugs, latanoprost, bimatoprost. And when you give the eye drops of this drug in the treatment of glaucoma in eyes, they can lead to inflammation. Now, I want to ask you all students, can you tell me this side effect? Let me maximize it for you so that you can understand. Describe this image. Can we say we are doing fundoscopy? We are checking retina in behind, and in retina we are seeing small transparent lesions which are just like cloud. Okay? Which are just like cloud. Yes, this is a retinal inflammation, and retinal inflammation is also known as cystoid cloud-like macular edema. Okay? CME, very good. Can you describe this image to me? You know that iris provides color to your eye. Blue eyes, hypnotize, honey sing, hai na? So here the color of the eyes are changed because of retinal inflammation. So this side effect is known as hetero, means change in, chromia means color, because of inflammation of iris, which is known as heterochromia iridis. Very good. Now can you tell me what is this picture? This is known as hypertrichosis. Hyper means excessive hair growth. Excessive hair growth of eyebrows, eyelashes is another side effect of prostaglandin F2 alpha analog. Do you agree? Other prostaglandin I will tell you later on, don't worry. Okay? Fine. Now remember beta, there is a difference. Akash has asked a very important question. Sir, that for angle closure glaucoma, drug of choice is acetazolamide. No beta. If angle closure glaucoma presents as emergency, then we give acetazolamide. That emergency is known as acute congestive glaucoma. Acute means very high, congestive means eyes are swollen. Here we give acetazolamide with mannitol because it's an emergency. Otherwise, the drug of choice for any type of glaucoma in long term is prostaglandins. Now, glaucoma one-liner. Chalo, I'll give you a trick how to remember. Which glaucoma drug सबसे ज़्यादा एलर्जी करता है? एलर्जी होगी तो क्या होगा? Eyelid, conjunctiva, there will be inflammation. So which drug causes maximum allergic blepharoconjunctivitis? A से ही है drug का नाम. Anyone who knows the drug name from A? एलर्जी A वाला ड्रग करता है. Yes, एप्राक्लोनिडीन. कौन सा ड्रग? एप्राक्लोनिडीन. फाइन. Now, which anti-glaucoma drug can cause bronchospasm या asthma? Bronchospasm और asthma B वाला ही ड्रग है. B वाला कोई ड्रग बताओ. Yes, beta blockers like timolol, betaxolol, they should be avoided in asthma. Then, which drug causes, given for glaucoma, but itself can sometime lead to glaucoma, causes secondary means drug-induced angle closure glaucoma, that is carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitor, they will end with the word zolamide. Acetazolamide, dorzolamide, brinzolamide. Now, which anti-glaucoma drug can cause dark or black eye? Black eye कौन सा कर सकता है? Dark या फिर black eye? D से ही है ड्रग का नाम. डी सही है, ड्रग का नाम एनीवन? डार्क या काली आई किससे होगी? सॉरी, डी से डिपिवेफ्रीन, बिकॉज डिपिवेफ्रीन इट्स एक्टिव फॉर्म इज एपिनेफ्रीन, एपिनेफ्रीन कलर इज ब्लैक। चलो बताओ, पेनफुल आई ड्रॉप्स, कौन सा ग्लोकोमा वाला ड्रग पेन करता है आईज में? पी सही है नाम, पी से कौन सा ड्रग जानते हो आप? विच ड्रग इन ग्लोकोमा यू नो फ्रॉम पी? pilocarpine, it produce meiosis. Now which drug should be avoided in children less than 2 years of age? तो बच्चों में कौन सा ड्रग नहीं देना? बच्चों में कौन सा ड्रग कॉन्ट्रा इंडिकेटेड है? बी से कोई ड्रग बताओ बच्चों में नहीं दोगे। बी से एक ड्रग बताओ जो बच्चों में कॉन्ट्रा इंडिकेटेड है। बच्चों में ब्राइमोनिडीन नहीं देना, बच्चों में ब्राइमोनिडीन नहीं देना, बट बच्चों की मम्मी में ब्राइमोनिडीन इज द सेफेस्ट ड्रग। सेफेस्ट ड्रग इन प्रेगनेंसी इज अगेन ब्राइमोनिडीन। फाइन, बच्चों में दे देना, बच्चों की मम्मी में देना है। आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड। लेट्स टॉक अबाउट नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। यस, एन एस्थमेटिक पेशेंट ऑन salbutamol and ipratropium continues to have exacerbation of asthma. What is the next step? That means asthma is not controlled. If asthma is not controlled, for controlling asthma, which drug we give? Yes, the answer of our question is LABA plus inhalational steroids. LABA plus inhalational steroid. So let me tell you the treatment of asthma. So treatment of asthma, let's say a patient comes to you with acute attack of asthma, we give a drug bronchodilators. कौन से ड्रग देंगे? Bronchodilators. And the overall drug of choice is beta 2 agonist like formoterol, salbutamol, ठीक है, beta 2 agonist. And if it is still not relieved, if this attack is still not relieved, NR means not relieved, you add other bronchodilator. Other bronchodilator न्यूमोनिक लिख लो, मिया, सिर्फ मिया लिखेंगे, आगे का वर्ड नहीं लिखना, काफ़ी इरोटिक हो जाएगा वो। M फॉर मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट, इप्राट्रोपियम एंड अमाइनोफिलीन. So these are the other bronchodilators which are given in the treatment of acute attack of asthma. Now, एक आदमी को बार बार एस्थमा का अटैक पड़ता है. Let's say a patient is having chronic asthma. Then the drug of choice is anti-inflammatory drug, because if you will control inflammation, you can prevent another attack of asthma. And the drug of choice is ICS. Can you tell me better what is the full form of ICS? Can you tell me the full form of ICS? ICS is inhalational corticosteroid. Now, how to start steroid? Let's understand. In a patient of chronic asthma, if still the patient is having asthma attack, the patient is having mild chronic asthma, less than 1 attack per day, we give inhalational corticosteroid in low dose. But if it is still not controlled, still are having attack, we give ICS in low to medium dose, but we add LABA, which is the answer of our question. Long acting beta 2 agonist which will maintain bronchodilation. Still sir not control, patient is having regular attack. Still, now what we will do, we will increase the dose of steroid, high dose, plus we will give LABA. I hope you have understood. This is how you will manage. Now, still the attacks are not getting controlled with maximum dose of inhalational corticosteroid. If asthma not controlled by highest dose of inhalational corticosteroid, we call it as refractory asthma. In refractory asthma, remember we give oral steroids like prednisolone. Do you agree? Sir, with oral steroid, still asthma is not getting controlled. That means no effect in refractory asthma by oral steroid. Then we call this asthma as corticosteroid resistant asthma. ना inhalational से ठीक हुआ, ना oral से ठीक हुआ. Let's call it as corticosteroid resistant asthma, here we give MAB. Can you tell me beta what is the full form of MAB? Can you tell me the full form of MAB now? MAB stands for monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies. So the answer of our question is not controlled. We started this drug. So let's talk about which monoclonal antibodies we give in asthma, that we will discuss shortly. So tell me the answer of this question. Which of the following is not a side effect of very frequently asked question, formoterol? Can you tell me what is formoterol? Formoterol is beta-2 agonist. Formoterol is beta-2 agonist. So the answer of this question is hypoglycemia. It does not produce hypoglycemia, it rather produces hyperglycemia. Okay. So what are the side effects of beta-2 agonist? Remember 2T, 2H. These are the side effects of beta-2 agonist. First T stands for tachycardia. Heart rate will increase, yes. Then we have tremors, muscles में tremors, which is the most common side effect is tremors. Now remember, they decrease potassium level, they produce hypokalemia and they increase glucose level. Now why they produce hyperglycemia? Because beta-2 receptor on liver, if you stimulate beta-2 receptor on liver, it leads to glycogen breakdown. क्या हो जाता है इससे? Glycogen breakdown होगा. Now tell me, if there is glycogen breakdown, there will be hyperglycemia, not hypoglycemia. I hope you have understood the concept behind it. Great. Next question, which was recently asked. I have modified this question a bit, but this question was indirectly asked this year in NEET exam also. Which monoclonal antibody is incorrectly matched? Incorrect mechanism. It's a tough one. And all these monoclonal antibodies are used in asthma. Yes, Ritik ji, Sudeep ji, you all are absolutely right. So omalizumab, remember, it block IgE, true. Mepolizumab blocks interleukin 5. Another drug which block interleukin 5 apart from mepolizumab is reslizumab. दो ड्रग जो इंटरल्यूकिन 5 को ब्लॉक करते हैं, रेस्लीजुमैब एंड मेपोलिजुमैब. A new drug, dupilumab, it blocks interleukin 5 receptor, true. Now, the fourth option is false. Benralizumab. Benralizumab does not block interleukin 5 receptor. It rather block interleukin 6 को नहीं block करता. It is interleukin 5 receptor blocker. It block which receptor? Interleukin 5 receptor. It is not 6. Okay. Now, there is a new monoclonal antibody which is approved for asthma 2 years back. New monoclonal antibody which is approved for asthma is tezepelumab. Tezepelumab, एक नई monoclonal antibody approved for asthma. It block TSL. TSL कुछ लिख लो, thymic. हमें क्या करना, क्या होता है ये, हमें तो रटना है. Thymic stromal lymphopoietin. Because all these molecules, they produce inflammation in asthma. Thymic stromal lymphopoietin. So this is the complete list of monoclonal antibodies approved for asthma. Done? आगे चलें, चलो. A patient comes with cough and thick sputum. Very frequently asked question. Which of the following drug is given to this patient? Tell me the answer, beta. Which answer? Cough and thick sputum. Can we say patient is having productive cough? Patient is having productive cough. So we will give bromhexine. Okay, we will give bromhexine. Let's understand the drugs for cough. So drugs for cough, basically two types. Expectorant. Expectorant they will expel out mucus. That is why they are sometimes known as mucolytic drug also. And that is why they are given for the treatment of productive or infective cough, so that infection can be removed out of the body. Agreed? 3 drugs we have. BAN, ban. तो फर्स्ट इज ब्रोमहेक्सीन, ब्रो वर्ड इज कमिंग. एम्ब्रोक्सोल, ब्रो वर्ड इज कमिंग. दोनों ब्रो ब्रो हैं. एंड लास्टली एंटीडोट ऑफ पैरासिटामोल, इट इज ऑल्सो गिवन एज एन एक्सपेक्टोरेंट फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ कफ. N-acetylcysteine को हम और कहाँ यूज करते हैं? एज अ म्यूकोलिटिक ड्रग. Then we have antitussive drug. Antitussive drug, remember, they suppress cough centers. मतलब आदमी को खांसी ही नहीं होगी. So that is why they are given for the treatment of dry or non-infective cough. Dry or non-infective cough. Remember, antitussive drugs are absolutely contraindicated in infective or productive cough because infection will not come outside. So the drugs are done. First is dextromethorphan, very commonly asked question. Opioids and noscapine. Opioids में like codeine, its brother folcodeine. Similarly, morphine, its brother levorphenol. Levorphenol नाम याद रखना है. Can you tell me among these three antitussive drug, DO and DON, कौन सा addictive है? Which drug do you think produce lot of addiction? And that is why abuse of cough syrup is a very big problem. ट्रम्प साहब भी बोल रहे हैं ना, आजकल तो डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प साहब हर जगह है. So which drugs are addictive? Opioids are addictive drug. इनका एडिक्शन है. Other drugs are non-addictive drug. That is why nowadays we prefer to use dextromethorphan या फिर noscapine. Done? चलो. Tell me the answer of this question. Inhalational nitric oxide and bosentan, they are approved for the treatment of which disease? Yes, you all are absolutely right. The answer is pulmonary artery hypertension. So let me give you the drugs for pulmonary artery hypertension. Remember a mnemonic: Pepsi, Coca-Cola. ठीक है? Now, tell me, in eyes glaucoma, we discussed about prostaglandin F2 alpha. Pulmonary artery hypertension, we give which prostaglandin? We give prostaglandin I2. Glaucoma में F2, PAH में I2. So the drugs are like treprostinil, Eloprost. They are considered to be the drug of choice. They produce vasodilation, reduce pulmonary artery pressure. E for endothelin antagonist. Let's block endothelin receptor. Endothelin causes vasoconstriction, which raises pulmonary artery pressure. So endothelin antagonist, drug name is bosentan. How we can remember bosentan? ENT means endothelin, AN means antagonist. Then we have phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitor. ये ड्रग वाइग्रा का नाम सुने? वाइग्रा, sildenafil, tadalafil, which are also given for erectile dysfunction. So what is another use of Viagra or sildenafil? Pulmonary artery hypertension and erectile dysfunction. Then we have soluble guanylyl cyclase activator, Riociguat. Guanylyl cyclase, GU80 means activator. I2 type of prostaglandin receptor agonist, Selexipag. These are the new drugs. Continuous nitric oxide inhalation, which was given in the question, and we gave calcium channel blocker like amlodipine. So these are the drugs we have for pulmonary artery hypertension. It's a very commonly asked topic in INI-CT exam. In FMG, less commonly asked, but in INI-CT, very commonly asked question, PAH.